Welcome to Sleepy Music Tales. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel, your space for relaxation and peace. I'm Elias, your guide for tonight's journey of relaxation and discovery. I'm so glad you're here. This is a place where you can release worries, let go of stress, and find a sense of calm after a long day. Whether you're seeking deep sleep, a moment of stillness for your mind, or simply a peaceful escape, you've come to the right place. Here, the stories are told with a gentle, soothing voice, crafted to calm your thoughts, warm your heart, and ease you into complete relaxation. Before we begin tonight's story, let's take a few minutes to unwind and prepare for the gentle journey ahead. First, find a comfortable position, whether you're lying in bed, wrapped in a warm blanket, or sitting back in your favorite chair. Feel the surface beneath you supporting your body, safe and comforting. Now, take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, allowing your belly to gently rise. Hold it for a brief moment, then exhale slowly through your mouth, imagining all the tension and fatigue flowing out with your breath. Let's do this together a couple more times. Inhale, hold, and exhale, releasing a bit more with each breath. One last time, breathe in calm, and breathe out, letting go of any lingering worries. Next, gently lift your shoulders toward your ears, holding for a few seconds. Then release completely, feeling the tension melt away. If you like, tilt your head slowly from side to side, softening any tightness in your neck. Let your arms rest naturally, and if it feels comfortable, place a hand over your chest, connecting with the steady rhythm of your breath. With each passing moment, your breathing becomes calmer and more even. Imagine a soothing wave of relaxation, gently moving from the top of your head, across your forehead, down to your shoulders, flowing through your body, all the way to your toes. Any stress from today is washed away by this wave, leaving only deep tranquility in its place. Now that your body is relaxed and your mind is quieting, get ready for tonight's story. You'll be transported to ancient Egypt, where the moonlight shimmers on mystical rivers and age-old secrets wait to be uncovered. Let this voice guide you through time, meeting kind characters and discovering profound messages that echo through the ages. There's nothing you need to do. Simply let yourself drift with the sound of the story and the rhythm of your breath. And now, let's step into the story together. Whispers of Ancient Egypt, Kefri's Journey Through Time. Night gently descended upon the ancient land of Egypt as the full moon hung high above, casting a soft silver glow over the shimmering surface of the Nile. The river flowed calmly, carrying with it the breath of time like a lullaby echoing from millennia past. On the riverbank, a young boy sat in silence, his gaze lost on the horizon where water and sky merged into one. His name was Kefri, a young apprentice scribe. Before him lay a neatly rolled papyrus scroll, an inkpot, and a pristine white feather quill, the precious gift from his teacher Serene, given on his first day of training. Kefri sighed, gently brushing his fingers along the quill's delicate plume. The moonlight glinted off the soft strands, creating an almost magical luminescence. He wondered if he truly belonged on this path. Being a scribe required more than diligence. It demanded a heart that could observe and feel but him. He often felt like an outsider among the dry lines of script. Was it because he longed for something more? A life of adventure beyond the confines of parchment and ink? A soft breeze swept through, carrying the sweet scent of grass and the familiar, earthy aroma of the river. Kefri closed his eyes, letting the wind caress his face. Only in these moments, by the tranquil Nile, did he find his restless mind begin to quiet. "You're overthinking again, aren't you?" A familiar voice broke the silence. Kefri turned to see Rami, his childhood friend, flashing his usual bright grin. With his jet-black hair and eyes that sparkled with mischief, Rami seemed to carry an ever-present breeze of energy around him. He dropped a small cloth pouch beside Kefri and sat down, tilting his head up to gaze at the moon. "You're always here, lost in thought," Rami chuckled. "Come on, Kefri. Nights like this aren't for sighing at the river. My family's boat is moored nearby. Let's take a ride. Clear your head." Kefri hesitated. "I have lessons with Master Serene tomorrow." "All the more reason to relax tonight," Rami grinned. "You don't want your mind tangled up during lessons. Besides," he paused, a spark of excitement in his voice, "they say that on nights like this, when the moon is at its fullest, the Nile turns into a silver path leading to wonders unseen." Despite himself, Kefri laughed at Rami's embellishment, yet he couldn't deny the allure. Slipping his quill and scroll into the pouch, he rose to follow his friend. The Raz Whisper, Rami's family boat, wasn't large, but it was sturdy and familiar. Memories flooded Kefri as he stepped aboard. Lazy afternoons listening to Rami's tall tales, stolen fishing trips despite constant scoldings. He settled onto the deck, his back against rolls of sun-warmed linen. Rami untied the mooring rope and gently pushed off, sending ripples across the water. The boat glided out onto the open river. The world expanded around them, vast, serene, infinite. Egyptian nights held no chill, only the soft kiss of the breeze and the faint perfume of lotus flowers drifting in from unseen ponds. Above, the sky stretched like a canvas dusted with shimmering grains of sand. Stars glittered in abundance, and the moon, a glowing lantern from ages past, cast its gentle gaze over them both. "Remember when we were kids?" Rami broke the silence. "We said we'd sail up the Nile until we found where it begins." "Yeah," Kefri smiled wistfully. "I'm not sure that dream still fits me." "Don't say that," Rami tossed him a date fruit. "You weren't born just to drown in ink and scrolls. You always wanted more. There's still time to chase that, you know." Kefri squeezed the pouch holding his quill. Yes, he had wanted more. But expectations, obligations, they weighed heavy, like invisible chains binding his every step. He exhaled, about to speak, when a flicker at the edge of his vision. Something white glided just above the river's surface. Not a cloud, not a trick of the light, it was an ibis. Its slender form moved gracefully, pure white feathers catching the moon's glow, radiating an ethereal aura. Dark eyes met his gaze, deep, knowing, as if peering into the very core of his being. "Do you see that?" Kefri whispered. "Yeah." Rami's voice dropped to a hushed awe. That's an ibis, the sacred bird of thought. The ibis tilted its head, then, without haste, spread its wings. A soft gust followed, brushing against them like a gentle beckoning. Kefri's pouch stirred, his quill vibrated within. In a heartbeat, the white feather slipped free, caught in the breeze, and began to drift upward, trailing the ibis. "Wait!" Kefri leapt up, reaching too late. "My quill!" Rami's reaction was instant. "Hold on tight." With practiced ease, he maneuvered the boat after the fleeing feather and its avian guide. The wind quickened, tousling their hair, carrying with it a strange mix of river scent, lotus sweetness, and something else. Something ancient, mysterious, and deeply alluring. "You sure about this?" Rami shouted over the rush of air, though Kefri's eyes had already answered. No hesitation, no fear, only curiosity, yearning, and a faint pull from deep within his chest. The ibis soared higher, slowing as if ensuring they kept pace. The moon, impossibly bright, bathed the Nile in liquid silver, painting a path of light upon the water, like a road leading to places forgotten by time. And in that fleeting, breathless moment, beneath the vast Egyptian sky, amidst stars that had witnessed countless stories unfold, a new journey began. A journey that would not just change Kefri's fate, but awaken truths slumbering beneath ancient sands, echoing through forgotten temples, and stirring the depths of his heart. And far above, the ibis glanced back, eyes glinting like polished obsidian, a gaze that seemed to murmur, "True knowledge begins when you dare to step beyond what you know." The surface of the Nile sparkled beneath the moonlight, like a vast mirror reflecting the star-studded night sky. The Ra's whisper glided gently across the calm waters, leaving behind delicate ripples that faded into the darkness. The soft sound of Rami's oars slicing through the water mingled with the river's gentle lapping against the boat, creating a soothing melody that invited the soul to listen. On the deck, Kefri sat close to the edge, his gaze fixed on Atina, the white ibis gliding gracefully ahead. Its wings stretched wide, moving with a rhythmic elegance beneath the moon, leaving faint trails of light in the air with each beat. Just beneath it, his precious white quill, carried by an unseen breeze, floated along an invisible path, following wherever the sacred bird led. "Doesn't this feel strange?" Rami's voice broke the stillness, his breath visible in the cool night air. "It's like it's guiding us somewhere." Kefri nodded. "Not just guiding, it feels like a test." Rami let out a short laugh. "If this is some kind of divine test, I really hope it doesn't involve angering the gods. I didn't sign up for that." But deep down, Kefri sensed this was no mere coincidence. Tonight felt orchestrated. From the very first gust that whisked away his quill to the ibis's piercing gaze, it was as if something ancient was calling. Somewhere between the rustle of leaves and the whisper of the breeze, he heard it again. Soft yet clear. Follow. The light will show the way. A chill ran down his spine. Was it his or something more? The boat drifted past a cluster of palm trees swaying gently. On the riverbank, a group of women filled clay jars, their soft laughter echoing across the water. One of them waved at the passing boat, and a child beside her stared wide-eyed at the glowing ibis in the sky, whispering words Kefri couldn't make out. "See?" Rami grinned. People of the Nile, always warm, even in the dead of night. Kefri managed a smile, but his eyes remained on Athena. The ibis dipped lower, its wings skimming the river's surface. Wherever it flew, the water beneath seemed to glow, leaving a shimmering silver trail. The quill followed obediently, twirling and floating in perfect synchrony. Remy glanced over. So, if this leads to treasure, how are we splitting it? Kefri shook his head. I don't think this is about treasure, at least not the kind you're thinking of. It feels like knowledge or a forgotten secret. Knowledge is great, Remy sighed, but I wouldn't mind finding something simpler like a stash of honey cakes. Without warning, Athena accelerated. Its wings sent a stronger gust toward them, tousling their hair and making the boat rock slightly. Ahead, the Nile split into two branches, one broad and open, bathed in moonlight, the other narrow, shrouded in mist and flanked by dense trees whose shadows twisted like ancient guardians. Tell me it's not going down that creepy path, Remy muttered, eyeing the mist-covered branch. Athena circled once, then gracefully soared into the narrow waterway. The quills swirled after it, disappearing into the fog. Well, Remy exhaled. It was never going to be easy, was it? Sometimes, Kefri murmured. The most obscured path leads to the clearest answers. Remy chuckled dryly. You say things that give me goosebumps, but fine. Let's see where this crazy night takes us. With that, they steered the boat into the misty channel. The fog thickened instantly, cool and damp against their skin. It wrapped around them like a blanket, swallowing sound until even the river's song seemed distant. The only noises left were the gentle splash of the oar and their steady breaths. Shapes emerged on either side, crumbling stone columns, remnants of what might have been grand structures long forgotten. Weathered statues of lions stood sentinel along the banks, moss-covered and missing heads. An owl burst from the foliage, its wings beating the air with a deep whoomph that echoed eerily. This place, Ramy whispered, glancing around, doesn't seem like somewhere people come often. Yet for Kefri, it felt strangely familiar. Each fallen stone and vine-choked ruin seemed to murmur ancient stories, voices from a time when scribes like him documented the rise and fall of empires. He recalled something Master Serene once told him. Knowledge isn't just written on papyrus. It lives in what the world has forgotten. A faint glow appeared ahead. Athena perched upon a large, flat stone, surrounded by towering palms whose fronds filtered the moonlight into a cascade of silvery beams. The air grew thick with the fragrance of lotus flowers and damp earth. This must be it, Kefri whispered. They guided the boat ashore and stepped onto the soft, mossy ground. Athena turned its head toward Kefri, its black eyes bottomless. In that gaze, something ancient stirred, and then, inside his mind, a voice resonated, low and gentle. You have followed the light. Now, listen closely, for the wind does not merely blow, it speaks. Kefri's heart pounded. He looked at Ramy, ready to ask if he heard it too, but Ramy just shrugged. What? All I hear is wind and my heartbeat going wild. Athena spread its wings. With a faint rush of air, the ground before them shifted, sand parting to reveal a circular stone slab engraved with symbols. Kefri knelt beside it. The carvings. He recognized fragments. hieroglyphs tied to knowledge, wisdom, and the god thought. As his fingers traced the markings, a soft blue light blossomed from beneath his touch, veins of luminescence threading through the stone like ink spilling across parchment. By the gods. Remy stepped back wide-eyed. Ah, Kefri, are we opening some ancient curse? No, Kefri murmured, captivated. This is a riddle, a key. Glowing words emerged, shimmering in the cool night air. Only when your heart is still as the river and your mind clear as the moon shall the door of knowledge open. Closing his eyes, Kefri inhaled deeply. He let the world around him melt away, the whispering trees, the shifting river, even Rami's anxious breaths, until there was nothing but the steady beat of his own heart. In, out, calm, like the Nile itself. Gently he pressed his hand against the final symbol. Light flared, soft, warm, enveloping. And then the stone split apart, revealing a narrow passage sloping downward. Bathed in an inviting, ethereal glow, Atina flapped once and glided into the darkness without hesitation. Rami swallowed hard. So, we're going in there, huh? Kefri smiled faintly. Didn't you say life's about trying things? Rami sighed, shaking his head. Yeah. I didn't think the universe was listening when I said that. And so, beneath the shimmering moon and the whispers of the breeze, they stepped forward into the unknown, toward a darkness that felt less like an end and more like an invitation. Behind them, the Nile continued its timeless flow, cradling secrets of ages past. Ahead, waited an ancient journey neither boy could have imagined. The narrow passageway sloped downward into the earth, cool and thick with the scent of damp stone and ancient dust. Every step Kefri and Rami took echoed off the rough-hewn walls, a rhythmic beat reverberating through the silence. Soft luminescence traced along the carved symbols on the walls, casting a faint glow that danced across Rami's wary face and Kefri's focused gaze. Ahead of them, Atina, still in her ibis form, glided gracefully, her wings stirring faint trails of light with each measured beat. Her white feathers shimmered like captured moonlight, guiding the boys deeper into the unknown. I still can't believe we're doing this, Rami muttered, glancing nervously at the glowing inscriptions. Just earlier tonight I thought I'd be sleeping peacefully on the boat, and now look at me, following a god's bird underground. You could turn back, you know, Kefri said with a faint smile, though his own heart beat faster with both apprehension and wonder. At this point, Rami sighed. Might as well see where this crazy journey leads. Without warning, the narrow tunnel opened into a vast chamber. Moonlight filtered through a crack in the stone ceiling high above, casting silver beams that illuminated an expansive hall. Massive stone columns, intricately carved into interwoven hands reaching upward, supported the ceiling. It felt as though countless souls from ages past held the weight of the world aloft. Kefri's breath caught. This is the temple of the builder's hands. But what now? Rami glanced around, brow furrowed. In some of the scrolls I've copied, Kefri murmured, running his fingers across the cool stone. There's mention of a sacred place honoring the builders, the unsung heroes whose sweat and toil raised the grand monuments. This must be it, a sanctuary that preserves their stories. Rami let out a low whistle. Didn't think they'd get a temple just for building stuff. Guess I underestimated them. On the walls, vivid carvings depicted workers hauling stones, scribes recording details, and craftsmen meticulously placing each block. What struck Kefri most was that the symbols seemed to pulse faintly with light, as if the stone itself remembered every story etched into it. He stepped closer and began reading aloud. Each stone placed is a story told, each drop of sweat a page of history. Hands that labor in silent grace build monuments that time cannot erase. A hush fell between them. The weight of those words settled into the space around them, heavy, reverent. Kefri closed his eyes, feeling the truth sink in. Greatness wasn't only found in the final monument, but in every back bent beneath the sun, every calloused hand that shaped the stone. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed from the far end of the chamber. Both boys spun around, startled. From Teehee's shadows emerged a tall, broad figure, dust clinging to his tunic, eyes gleaming with recognition under the faint light. "Kefri?" the man called. "Horem!" Rami's face lit up. "What are you doing here?" Horem, his older brother, approached with a half smile, wiping sweat from his brow. His arms, strong and rough from years of labor, looked like they could move mountain. "I could ask you the same thing. I was told you liked adventures, Rami, but this..." He shook his head. "Even for you, this is new." "We're following the bird," Kefri said sheepishly, glancing at Atina, who perched silently on a stone slab. Horem looked at the ibis, his gaze shifting thoughtfully. "So the gods are involved. I should have guessed." He turned back to Kefri. "Few are led here, fewer still hear the call. You're not just stumbling into something, Kefri. You were summoned." "Summoned?" Rami echoed. "By who or by what?" Horem's expression sobered. "Not everyone hears the Nile's whispers or feels the weight of the stones beyond their mass. Those who do are chosen, not for fame, but to understand that the foundation of greatness lies not at the peak, but in the first stone laid." Kefri's throat tightened. He thought of the countless hours spent bent over scrolls, recording details of projects he had never truly seen. But here, surrounded by these colossal hands carved into stone, each one a tribute to human perseverance, knowledge felt alive. Atenna flared her wings and soared across the chamber, casting a luminous path. Horem gestured. "Follow her. The way up lies ahead." "Wait." Rami blinked. "We're going up now? I thought we were going deeper." "Knowledge lies beneath," Horem said, "but its message is carved into the heights." They continued along a sloping corridor, the air warming as they ascended. Slowly, new sounds emerged. The steady clang of hammers striking stone, the grunts of men pulling ropes, the rhythmic chants guiding the lifting of massive blocks. The world above was alive. Emerging from the tunnel's mouth, a gust of night air greeted them, thick with the mingled scents of freshly cut limestone, sweat, and distant river water. Before them stretched the vast construction site of the Great Pyramid, bathed in moonlight and flickering torch flames. Everywhere they looked, workers moved in perfect sync. Some heaving ropes, others guiding stones into place, and scribes marking down every detail. It was a living organism, 1,000 beating hearts working as one. Kefri stood frozen, awestruck. The diagrams he had copied, the numbers he had meticulously calculated, none of it had prepared him for the reality of seeing it with his own eyes. This wasn't just construction, it was a dance. A symphony performed by human hands against the canvas of the night. You see now, Horem's voice rumbled beside him, these men, they're not just workers, they're the pulse of this land. No one will carve their names on these walls, but every stone set will outlive us all. Rami exhaled slowly. I didn't expect this. It's incredible. Above them, Atena soared toward the pyramid's peak, her white feathers gleaming. At the summit, a symbol glowed, the same glyph Kefri had seen in the temple below. A soft hum filled the air, vibrating through the stones beneath their feet. Horem clasped Kefri's shoulder. Tonight, you witness what few ever do, the soul of this land, carved in stone and sweat. Kefri's eyes swept over the sight, over calloused hands gripping ropes, bare feet bracing against sand, foreheads glistening with effort. This was knowledge, living, breathing, enduring, not confined to ink and parchment, but etched into the hearts and backs of those who toiled in silence. Atena circled overhead, her cry echoing faintly, a sound that seemed both ancient and eternal. And Kefri understood. True knowledge wasn't just what you learned, it was what you felt, what you saw, and most importantly, what you remembered. Tonight, under the torches and the watchful stars, he found a piece of himself he hadn't known was missing. Above, Atena glided in one final arc, her wings catching the moonlight, as if to say, wisdom begins with gratitude and understanding. Under the full moon hovering over the Egyptian night, the construction site of the Great Pyramid appeared like a colossal, breathing entity. Flickering torches lined the towering stone steps, their flames reflecting off the smooth limestone surfaces, casting the entire structure in a silvery glow. Shouts from the laborers echoed through the night air, chants guiding the pulling of ropes, hammers striking stone, and footsteps resonating in a powerful yet harmonious symphony. Standing amidst it all, Kefri gazed up at the unfinished peak of the pyramid. High above, Atena circled gracefully, her white wings shimmering with an ethereal glow. As she glided, beams of soft light emanated from her feathers, casting a radiant sheen over the stones. One large block near the summit glowed faintly, revealing an ancient symbol, one Kefri instantly recognized, the mark of wisdom. Have you ever seen that before? Kefri asked. His voice hushed. Beside him, Horem squinted toward the summit. We knew there was a special stone near the peak, but no one's ever touched it. It's been there since the beginning. Placed before most of the workers arrived, no one dares move it. It's like it's always been waiting for something, Kefri murmured. Or someone, Rami added, glancing nervously at the glowing symbol. And don't tell me you're thinking of climbing up there. I like adventure as much as the next guy, but falling from that height isn't on my to-do list. Kefri's eyes flicked back to Atena. The ibis perched gracefully atop the illuminated stone, staring at him with eyes that seemed to pierce through time. That gaze wasn't urging nor warning. It simply waited. I have to see it, Kefri. Rami sighed. Of course you do. Why do I even bother? Horem chuckled, clapping a hand on Kefri's shoulder. Follow me. There's a path, but it's not easy. Stay close. The climb was grueling. The steep, narrow pathways twisted along the pyramid's face, worn smooth from months of relentless labor. Kefri's legs burned with every step, but adrenaline pushed him forward. The scent of freshly cut stone mixed with sweat filled the air, occasionally punctuated by the distant, calming aroma of lotus flowers drifting from the Nile. "I've worked on this site for months," Horam grunted as they paused to catch their breath. "And I used to think we were just stacking rocks. But the higher we climb, the more I realize we're building something beyond ourselves." Kefri nodded, heart pounding. Beneath his feet lay thousands of stones, each moved by calloused hands, guided by the determination of men who might never see the completion of their work. Knowledge wasn't just written on papyrus, it lived in every breath and every drop of sweat. "Hey," Rami whispered, pointing upward. "Look." Etina hovered near a small recess in the stonework. Beneath her, glowing text appeared, etched into the stone. "The door opens when the heart listens and the eyes truly see." "Oh, come on," Rami muttered. "More riddles?" Horam shook his head. "No one ever mentioned this. It's like it's been waiting to be discovered." Kefri closed his eyes, steadying his breath. The heart listens. The eyes see. He remembered Master Seren's words. "Wisdom isn't always read, it's felt." Some truths are heard not with ears but with the soul. Opening his eyes, Kefri pressed his hand to the stone. The surface was cold, but then a warmth pulsed beneath his fingertips, like a slow, ancient heartbeat. "Trust your senses," he whispered to himself, gently pushing forward. Rumble. The stone shuddered. Sand and dust cascaded down as a hidden passage slowly revealed itself, glowing with a soft blue luminescence that seemed to beckon them inward. "This is," Remy breathed, "a temple? Up here?" "No," Horn corrected, eyes wide with awe. "This is something older, something no one was meant to find by chance." Atina gave a gentle cry and glided into the passage without hesitation. Kefri turned to his friends. "Come on." "Wait." Rami hesitated. "What if this, wakes something up?" "If we turn back now," Kefri said quietly, "tonight will just be another night. But if we go on, we might discover something people spend lifetimes searching for." Rami huffed a laugh. "Why do you always talk me into these things?" Stepping inside, they entered an enormous chamber unlike anything Kefri had ever seen. Vast walls stretched upward, their surfaces adorned with carvings so detailed they seemed to breathe. Glowing inscriptions lined every corner, casting a gentle light that bathed the room in a calming glow. Unlike the grandeur of the pyramid's exterior, this place felt intimate. Not built for gods or kings, but for people, the walls depicted not just the construction of the pyramid, but the everyday lives of the builders. Children playing beside their parents, workers sharing meals, and moments of laughter captured in stone. "They recorded everything," Rami whispered. "Not just the work, but their lives." Kefri approached a carving of a man crouched beside his son, pointing toward the rising pyramid. Beneath it, a glowing inscription read, "We build not for ourselves, but for the days beyond our sight." Emotion swelled in Kefri's chest. These people hadn't just moved stones. They had poured their hopes and dreams into every block, leaving pieces of themselves behind for future generations to find. "Over there," Horam said, pointing toward the room's center. At the heart of the chamber stood a circular stone altar, atop which lay a ring of white feathers, softly glowing. At its center rested something unmistakable: Kefri's lost quill. "That's your quill," Rami said, voice tinged with awe. Kefri stepped forward, heart pounding. Atina perched beside the altar, watching with an unreadable gaze. No words were spoken, but none were needed. He knew. Reaching out, he touched the quill. Instantly, a flood of memories surged through him. Visions of laborers pulling ropes beneath the scorching sun, mothers waving to their sons as they marched to the site, children carving their initials into spare stones for future dreamers to find. Then the vision shifted. Kefri saw himself, hunched over scrolls, disconnected from the world beyond ink and parchment. He had written so many names, recorded countless numbers, but never paused to see who those people truly were. "Wisdom is not found only in written words," a voice echoed in his mind. "It lives in those who breathe, in those who remember, and in those who choose to understand." Gasping, Kefri pulled back. His chest heaved with breath and tears pricked his eyes. I understand now." Rami placed a steadying hand on his shoulder. "You okay?" "They didn't just build a monument," Kefri murmured. "They built memories for the future, for us." Atina trilled softly, and the quill in Kefri's hand began to glow brighter, then gently dissolved into a myriad of tiny lights that floated upward. Above, the tiny lights gathered at the chamber's ceiling, forming a constellation in the shape of a feather, shimmering like a soft promise in the night. Rami stared up, mouth agape. "Wow, that's going to be hard to top." Horam nodded, his gaze steady. "Remember what you saw here, Kefri. Knowledge isn't just to be kept, it's to be lived." Kefri smiled, warmth spreading through his chest. He'd come seeking answers, but found something far greater, a connection to the people who came before, and a responsibility to carry their stories forward. And high above, the new constellation shimmered, its soft glow a whispered reminder: live, remember, and tell their stories. The soft glow of the feather-shaped constellation still shimmered on the temple ceiling, strands of silver light weaving across the stone like delicate threads of moonlight. Kefri gazed upward, heart swelling with emotion. The memories carved into the walls, the whispered stories of nameless builders, and the weight of their sacrifices had seeped into his very being. This place, these people, their lives would never be forgotten, not as long as he remembered. Beside him, Atina perched silently, her dark eyes reflecting the shimmering lights above. In that moment, Kefri felt as though time itself had paused. Only the stars, the lingering echoes of the past, and Atina's gaze existed. Then, a subtle tremor rippled through the chamber. The inscriptions along the walls glowed brighter, casting waves of soft, blue-green luminescence across the stone. From the far end of the temple, a massive stone door began to part, revealing a passage bathed in warm, inviting light. "Atina wants us to go," Kefri whispered. Rami shot him a wary look. "Are you sure about this? We just uncovered a hidden temple. Shouldn't that be enough? There's a limit to how much adventure one night can hold." Horam rested a steady hand on Kefri's shoulder. "Sometimes the most important path is the one at the end of the journey. You've come this far. You can't turn back now. Drawing a deep breath, Kefri nodded. This is it. The truth I've been searching for. The door led them into a narrow corridor, softly illuminated by glowing stones embedded along the walls. The light pulsed rhythmically, like the steady heartbeat of the earth itself. The air was different here, no longer musty with dust and age, but filled with a subtle fragrance of lotus flowers, and he clutched his old quill tightly, the familiar weight grounding him amidst the surging anticipation. The corridor opened into a vast circular chamber. Above, a high vaulted ceiling sparkled with embedded crystals, casting soft, prismatic reflections that danced like distant stars. At the center of the room, a massive floating crystal hovered, radiating a calm, silvery glow. Beneath it sat a stone pedestal shaped like a five-pointed star, each point engraved with a symbol: wisdom, courage, patience, kindness, and curiosity. Upon the pedestal lay a rolled papyrus scroll, encircled by white feathers gently swirling in midair, as if cradled by an invisible current. Kefri approached, his heartbeat quickening, but as his fingers brushed the scroll's edge, a burst of radiant light flared, forcing him back with a gasp. Then a voice filled the chamber, deep, resonant, neither entirely male nor female, echoing as if the walls themselves spoke. Seeker of knowledge, you have reached the journey's end, but all wisdom carries a price. Are you prepared to pay it? Rami stepped back, glancing around. Okay. Who's talking? Is there someone else here? Because this is getting really weird. Haram's gaze remained steady. It's the final trial, he murmured. This isn't just a discovery, it's a choice. Atena stepped forward. Her form shimmered, and to their astonishment she transformed, white feathers dissolving into light. In her place stood a tall figure, cloaked in robes that gleamed like molten moonlight. His skin glistened like polished silver, and his dark eyes held centuries of wisdom. Thou'rt, Kefri breathed in awe. The god of wisdom inclined his head. You have followed the call, uncovered the memories, and understood the worth of silent hands. But now you stand at a crossroads. He raised both hands, and two objects appeared, suspended in the air between them. In his right hand, the Nebu feather, a radiant golden plume shining with dazzling brilliance, promising endless knowledge and untold power. In his left hand, Kefri's old quill, plain, worn, and unremarkable in appearance, yet imbued with familiarity and warmth. Take the Nebu feather, Thoth intoned, and all secrets of the world shall be yours. Every question answered, every mystery unveiled, or choose your humble quill, and continue to learn slowly, with struggle and wonder, discovering truths through effort, error, and patience. Silence enveloped the room. The Nebu feather's glow beckoned. A siren call of infinite knowledge. Kefri felt a deep yearning inside. How many nights had he dreamed of answers? How many questions clawed at the edges of his mind? And yet, his gaze drifted to the old quill, faded, simple, but it carried memories. Late nights hunched over scrolls, ink-stained fingers, the gentle reprimands and guiding words of his mentor Serene, and the realization that the journey mattered more than the destination. You're hesitating, Rami said gently. If it were me, I'd probably grab the shiny one. Who wouldn't want all the answers? Horam shook his head. Quick knowledge can blind the heart. Easy truths often carry hidden costs. Kefri closed his eyes. He heard the echoes of the builders' chants, the laughter of the workers whose stories lived on in stone, and Thoth's earlier words. True wisdom isn't in knowing everything, but in understanding what truly matters. Opening his eyes, Kefri reached forward and chose the old quill. Grasping it, he said softly, "Knowledge isn't something to possess. It's something to seek, to live through. If I took the Nebu feather, I'd lose the joy of discovery, the lessons hidden in mistakes, the beauty of wondering why." A slow, approving smile spread across Thoth's face. "You have chosen wisely. The greatest wisdom is not in knowing all things, but in knowing what knowledge to seek and why." As he spoke, the Nebu feather dissolved, scattering into golden motes that drifted upward, fading into the air like a sigh released. Kefri felt warmth bloom in his chest, a sensation that wasn't power or knowledge, but something deeper, clarity, gratitude, and peace. "As a gift for your choice," Thoth continued, "I bestow upon you not answers, but remembrance. The ability to carry these memories, not just in your mind, but in your heart, always." The warmth deepened, spreading through Kefri's limbs. He knew, without truly understanding how, that he would never forget this night, nor the lessons learned beneath these ancient stones. Atina, now an ibis once more, flapped her wings, taking to the air. Her soft cry echoed through the chamber as she glided toward the exit. Horam gave Kefri a proud clap on the shoulder. That took strength. Not many would have chosen the harder path. Brahmi smirked. Yeah, you're the noble one. Still think I'd have taken the golden feather, though." Kefri laughed, tucking his quill into his robe. "Come on, let's go home." They emerged beneath the open sky, where the Nile gleamed like liquid silver under the moon's watchful eye. The air smelled of lotus blossoms and cool earth, the distant sounds of the workers fading as the night deepened. Above them, the feather-shaped constellation sparkled brighter than ever, soft and luminous. A gentle reminder etched into the heavens. "Look at that," Rami whispered. "It's like the sky's smiling back." Kefri tilted his head, letting the cool breeze brush against his skin. Peace flooded him, not because he had found all the answers, but because he understood now that questions were what gave life meaning. Horam stretched with a groan. "So, ready to return to ink stains and papyrus sheets?" Kefri grinned, rolling the quill between his fingers. "More than ever." The three of them stood for a moment longer, basking in the quiet beauty of the night. Then, with hearts lighter than when they began, they turned toward the distant flickering lights of the workers' village. Behind them, the Nile flowed on, steadfast and eternal, carrying stories, dreams, and the whispers of those who came before. And far above, among the stars, the feather constellation glowed gently, its silent message echoing across time. Live fully, remember deeply, and share the stories that must never fade. The full moon hung serenely above, casting its silver glow over the gently flowing Nile. The river gleamed like a ribbon of liquid silver, winding its eternal path through the heart of Egypt. Across the tranquil waters, the Ra's whisper glided smoothly, the gentle lapping of waves against its wooden sides creating a soothing melody, a song whispered through the ages. Kefri sat at the edge of the boat, legs dangling just above the cool water. The night breeze ruffled his hair, carrying with it the faint, calming scent of lotus blossoms from the riverbanks. In his hand the old quill rested, simple, familiar, yet now carrying a weight far greater than its humble appearance suggested. Beside him, Rami munched on a date cake he had pulled from a sack of supplies, his cheeks puffed out and his words muffled. I still, can't believe all of that really happened, he mumbled. Hidden temples, the god Thoth, glowing feathers, and you, Kefri, turning down ultimate knowledge. Seriously, who does that? At the helm, Horam chuckled, the lines of fatigue softening on his face. Not everyone understands the true value of knowledge earned through experience. Power given easily often blinds the heart. Rami rolled his eyes. Yeah, sounds deep and all, but I still think having a little divine power wouldn't hurt. Kefri just smiled faintly, gaze drifting back to the shimmering water. His thoughts lingered on the feather-shaped constellation now etched into the night sky, a mark of the journey they had taken, the lessons they had learned, and the memories that would never fade. Knowledge without heart is empty, Kefri said quietly. What I learned tonight, no scroll or book could have taught me. The simple truth of those words settled over them, momentarily silencing even Rami's banter. Ahead, the village lights flickered along the riverbank, warm and inviting. Laughter echoed faintly through the night air, mingling with the aroma of wood smoke and simmering stew. Mud brick houses, familiar and humble, appeared like soft shapes against the darkness. Home. And yet, after everything that had transpired, home didn't feel quite the same anymore. We really made it back, Ronnie murmured, eyes reflecting the village lights. Horam carefully maneuvered the boat to the dock. As Kefri's feet touched the earth, a strange sensation washed over him, both comfort and change. The ground was the same, the smells familiar, but he had shifted. I don't know about you two, Rami said, stretching with a groan, but I'm heading straight to Sarat's place. Heard she's got stew cooking tonight, and after everything, I deserve to eat enough for 3 people. You go ahead, Kefri smiled. I think I'll take a walk first. Rami frowned. You sure? No more secret temples or glowing birds tonight, okay? I'll be fine, Kefri assured him. Horam clapped his brother's back. Let him be. He's found his way. With a half-hearted grumble, Rami sauntered off toward the village, Horam following behind with an encouraging glance over his shoulder. Kefri watched them go, then turned, walking quietly along the riverbank. The cool sand shifted underfoot, moonlight painting the world in silver and shadow. A soft splash caught his attention. Turning, Kefri spotted a white shape perched on a riverside rock. Atenna. Her feathers, luminous under the moon, seemed to merge with the night sky. Those dark, knowing eyes met his, and for a moment everything else faded. Still watching me, Kefri said with a smile, settling onto the sand nearby. Or maybe I've been the one following you all along. Atena tilted her head but remained silent. The river flowed steadily behind them, carrying the whispers of distant lands and forgotten stories. I thought, when this journey ended, things would just go back to how they were, Kefri continued, voice soft. But I'm not the same person I was when we started. The ibis said nothing, but in her stillness, Kefri felt an understanding deeper than words. Thoth called memory a gift, Kefri murmured. But gifts come with responsibility, don't they? Without a sound, Atena stretched her wings, releasing a few delicate feathers into the air. They glimmered as they caught the breeze, swirling like tiny fragments of starlight. One drifted gently downward, landing in Kefri's open palm. It wasn't glowing. It wasn't magical. Just a simple feather, soft, light, ordinary. But Kefri understood. Magic isn't always in what you hold, but in how you see it. I get it now, he said. Not every story needs shining miracles. Sometimes, what matters most is that someone remembers, that someone tells it. Atena gave a soft trill, a sound like wind through reeds, then launched herself into the air, wings catching the moonlight as she soared upward. Kefri watched until she disappeared among the stars, just another bright speck in the vastness of the sky. By the time he returned to the village, Rami was lounging on the steps of a small tavern, face smudged with stew and satisfaction. Told you food makes everything better, he said between bites. Don't listen to him, Horam added, emerging with a steaming bowl of his own, though he's not wrong about the stew. Kefri laughed, sinking down beside them, the warmth of the food, the familiar sounds of the village, the scent of spices in the air. Everything felt simultaneously ordinary and extraordinary. You gonna write about all this? Rami asked, gesturing vaguely to the sky. You know, immortalize me as the hero of the tale, Kefri grinned. I was thinking something like the flow of time. Horam nodded thoughtfully. Fitting. Time, memory, people, it all flows like the river. For a while, they just sat there, watching the Nile glisten under the stars. Villagers moved about, voices mingling with the gentle splash of water and the distant song of night birds. Above them, the feather-shaped constellation glowed softly, its presence both new and ancient. Rami leaned back, hands behind his head. Kinda crazy, huh? All that, and here we are, eating stew like it's just another night. Kefri looked at his quill, now safely tucked into his robe. Maybe that's the point. Life moves on. Stories end, but they also live on as long as someone remembers. Horam glanced upward, and some memories become stars. The river whispered its eternal song, carrying the weight of countless stories, of builders who shaped stone, of scribes who captured fleeting moments in ink, of people who dared to dream beyond their lifetimes. Kefri closed his eyes, letting the river's song wash over him. He didn't have all the answers, and that was okay. The questions were what made the journey worthwhile. Far above, the feather constellation shimmered, a soft, constant reminder that the past never truly fades, not as long as hearts choose to remember. Live like the river. Flow endlessly, remember deeply, and keep the stories alive. The story of Kefri's journey through ancient Egypt reveals timeless lessons that resonate deeply with modern life. In a world obsessed with quick answers and instant gratification, Kefri's choice to pursue wisdom through experience rather than easy solutions reminds us of the value of patience and personal growth. True knowledge is not just about acquiring information, but about understanding through living, observing. The journey emphasizes the importance of gratitude for those who came before us, the countless, often unseen individuals whose efforts build the foundations we stand on today. Whether it's the builders of pyramids or modern-day workers, every contribution matters. Recognizing this fosters humility and a deeper connection to our communities. Perhaps the most profound message is that life's greatest lessons come from the journey itself, not just the destination. Mistakes, struggles, and moments of wonder shape us far more than quick solutions ever could. In a fast-paced world, slowing down to listen, to remember, and to appreciate our experiences can lead to a more meaningful and fulfilled life. Ultimately, Kefri's story is a reminder to live consciously, seek wisdom with an open heart, and carry forward the stories that shape who we are. Now, find a comfortable position in bed, allowing your body to settle into stillness. Gently close your eyes and feel the weight of your body sink deeper into the mattress, as if you are being embraced by softness and warmth. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, holding it for a brief moment. Then gently exhale through your mouth, imagining the stress and tension of the day flowing out with your breath. Repeat this a few times, noticing how each exhale brings a greater sense of ease and lightness. Now, shift your awareness to your feet. Feel them becoming warm and relaxed. Imagine a gentle wave of calm slowly rising from your toes, moving up through your legs, knees, and hips. This soothing sensation continues to spread, softly releasing any tightness in your back, stomach, chest, and arms, until it reaches your neck, jaw, and the muscles around your eyes. With each breath, your entire body melts further into tranquility. In your mind, visualize yourself lying beside a calm, peaceful river. The water glistens under the moon's tender light, flowing with a serene rhythm that matches your steady breathing. A cool, refreshing breeze drifts past, carrying the delicate fragrance of blooming lotus flowers. There is nothing to rush for, no worries to hold, only you and this quiet, restful moment. Around you, the healing frequency sounds resonate softly, like the universe's gentle heartbeat. Let the soothing vibrations seep into every part of you, comforting and restoring each cell. Feel warmth spreading from your chest, like a small flame kindling peace and calm deep within. Allow yourself to drift along with these gentle sounds. Thoughts may come and go like clouds passing across a vast sky. There's no need to hold on to them. Just let them float away as you sink deeper into stillness. As your body fully relaxes, remind yourself, you deserve this peace. You've done your best today. And now is the time to rest, recover, and be enveloped in warmth and love. Wishing you a deep, restful sleep, let the soothing sounds guide you into sweet dreams where your body rejuvenates, your mind finds clarity, and your heart embraces serenity. Tomorrow is a fresh beginning, and you will awaken renewed, ready to welcome all the goodness life offers. Sleep well